Okay, good evening. Select Board meeting tonight has to deal with budgets. And tonight, we're going to start with the library, electric department, living museum, insurance, executive, town manager, legal, personnel administration, miscellaneous operating expense, debt service, sewer fund operating transfer. Jim, are you going to start us off with this?
I am, Mr. Chairman. So the library's proposed 2026 budget is $729,977, an increase of $108,971, or 17.5%. The library has seen year-over-year incremental use increases, and they're observing some challenges going forward with pricing, from everything from cleaning right up to various supplies. Allison is here to speak on behalf of her budget, which I believe the trustees have approved, and answer any questions that you have. She'll kick it off before we get into the series. Allison?
Thank you. So what I've just distributed is a summary of our statistics from 2023 through present. There are only statistics for January through August, because that's when I produced this, that's what we had. Basically, you'll see increases in our salary and benefits, our building maintenance, and our books and periodicals, and I'm prepared to answer any questions on the above. But I shamelessly bring you my numbers, which I think are pretty impressive.
So a question, for your publications and that's driven because you're having a lot more foot traffic in the library, correct?
That's correct. As of from January through August, we had 47,068 individuals walk through the door.
And last year as a whole was how many?
Last year, excuse me, I just lost the page. I apologize. For 2024, it was 45,140. For 2023, it was 44,386.
So we have 4 months to go and you've already surpassed last year by 4,000 visitors.
That's correct.
And of course, that's going to drive your periodicals, your books, all the stuff that you need in the museum for visitors.
Right. Well, basically, and I do have some explanations on publishers. Right now, there's a lot of issues with publishers and getting material. There's more demand than there is supply. But also with our online resource circulations, which means that people are using the library from home. But our programs are also driving a lot of what we have coming through the door. We've increased our programming exponentially.
Can you give us a just brief what new programs we have?
We do, of course, a lot of wildlife and nature programs. We also have in the works an AI program that we're going to do. We do a lot of children's programming. We bring in a lot of speakers. In the last several months, we now have chair yoga for our seniors. We do mahjong, bridge, Scrabble. Everything in the library is free. We do not charge for anything. So we have a lot of foot traffic because people are coming to the library for our programs too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I would like to have this put on the town website in relationship to the budget. I think people should be able to go and get these statistics. Excellent. Thank you for putting them in this format and makes it so clear. So I think it should go on your webpage and it should also go on the town webpage at some point. And I would like it under the budget.
Thank you.
How old is the library now?
6 years old.
So I can see that we're doing more deep cleaning into the library right now. And that makes sense as a building. My house, I built it when it started being 6, 7 years old, was the first time I power washed it, painted trim, did some deep cleaning in different sections of the building.
And half of our patrons are children, so that's probably answers.
Well, clean it up after the kids and keep it clean for the kids.
Okay, so 100 series.
How many positions do you have open at this time? Do you have any?
What we had, and which I had proposed 2 years ago, we came forward with a full-time position where we've now frozen one of our part-time positions, and the trustees have just recently voted to allocate some of our part-time positions to fund completely within our existing operating budget, a full-time position for the circulation desk. As you can well imagine, having a full-time person to deal with what the circulation desk looks like half the time, it's easier than having a lot of part-time people there. There's continuity to the desk.
Thank you.
Total, I didn't catch the answer. Total headcount on board full-time is what?
Full-time is currently 4, and the rest is part-time. I have 7 part-time people. And they range from 10 hours a week to 25 hours a week.
And will you be lowering the number of part-time positions
Yes.
for the full-time? How many part-time?
Hours, we will deduct 25 hours from that. So 25 hours that has not been filled, plus another 25, in order to stay within the operating budget that we currently have.
Excellent.
200 series. $300 series.
Yes, the 300, the audit service,
Me too.
we spent time getting it over to the library, and now
Now
it
we're pulling it
seems
back.
to be going back. And I want to know the rationale for that.
I believe that it's deducted from when the town gives us our payment, which is our operating budget. It has already been deducted, and it stays within the town for salary and benefits, audit services, and copier.
The only reason I'm asking is because when we look at it, we've been moving a lot of things from budget to budget, so it's hard for us to tell the impact. And so what was the decision to do that?
I'm not exactly sure. The full amount is under finance for 2026. We used to do $1,000 for the library.
I thought they had to have their own audit, isn't it?
It all falls under the same purchase order for audit.
Okay.
Relative to it was Robertson Green and now the new firm going forward. We're invoiced once, so we just felt it was prudent to move it in. That way we're not crossing a check 2 times.
435, building maintenance. What are miscellaneous repairs?
So 435 miscellaneous repairs. So that this year, we had HVAC system issues, and we deducted it from there. We had a sub pump installed in the basement. We had an alarm put on our water sump pump in the basement. We also had a very large backup in the toilets in the library, and we had to have Servpro come in and do cleaning, actually come out and blow the pipes that there was a large blockage. So it's just different things that we've had that have been a maintenance issue.
I'm sorry to do this. I just want to go back to the audit line, even though it's a de minimis amount of money. So and I remember this, that we struggled to assign the cost, and I'm not looking at you, Allison, it's us. We struggled to assign the cost directly to where the cost was incurred, and now we're pulling the cost back and putting it into a centralized, my word, budget. Is that kind of what we're doing?
I assume so. I mean, the full amount is under finance, and like Jim said, we do one purchase order. It makes sense we don't allocate the audit expenses among every department. So in my mind, it makes sense to just have it
Okay,
centralized.
so that maybe Linda and I and Jim, maybe we can have a subsequent call. I assumed that we had to have an audit of that function,
I thought so too.
library function, all right? If we have to have an audit of that function, my words, maybe not yours, we don't allocate a cost. It's a directed cost assigned to that function. That's all. We can work it out. I mean, the cost is going to get paid. I think Linda and I are trying to figure, no disrespect to the term, we're trying to figure out how how stuff's getting moved around and keeping tabs on it.
Tag it as a revisit.
I don't think it's it's not a revisit. I just want to, maybe we can, well, however you want to do it. I just want to make sure that if it's a
Well,
direct.
you're asking questions in public that I'm sure the public is going to want an
That's fine.
answer to,
Then do it a
therefore,
revisit. That's fine.
it is
I
a
agree with
revisit.
I'd say it's a revisit, yeah.
And on legal, which is the next line, you have your own counsel, you have
That's
your own
correct.
lawyer, you do all of that, so that's a
That's
directed cost
That's
on
correct.
you. Okay, good, got that, thank you. Thank you. And on the custodial services, I heard my colleague talk about that, so it's roughly $650 a week custodial services in line 360. It's like $600 a week for custodial services, and that's up pretty darn substantially from 2025. Because it's new year of operate, what caused the delta to go from 900 to 33,900?
We lost our custodian. We had a part-time custodian. So that position is no longer in my salary and benefits. So as of last year, I was using it as a part of my discussion of getting a full-time cleaner in. Well, it's not a full-time, it's 3 times a week, 210 a session. And basically, we couldn't go that long because the foot traffic, as you can
Got
imagine.
it. No, I understand. I got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I had asked about that, and they have the same cleaner as the public safety building, because we saw another big hike, and I asked and then whether they could do that, and they are doing that.
Yes, the fire chief and I had sat down and they utilize the service that we use, and they go right next door to clean next door.
Got it.
I would also just add, this is a consequence of the default budget. The proposed last year for 2025 was $33,760. The approved was $909. Year to date through September 22nd is $21,000.
Got it. Thank you.
.400 series.
I think I'd like to point out here that electricity went down tremendously because of the solar panel.
Absolutely, and that number is just a guesstimate. We expect it to be even lower. It was a non-event for us to go directly onto solar. I had spoken to Nancy Hirschberg to try to get a feel for what she thought. So we just halved it, but we really don't think we're going to need that much. I just haven't gone through all seasons yet to be able to make an informed decision.
It's good to know.
Yep.
So water and sewer will go up because you have additional patrons in the library, but the electricity is going to go down, and that will end up offsetting those additional costs.
And what I say is we're not spending it on electricity anymore, but water and sewer.
Right. Got it.
.500 series.
On 560, those subscriptions are going up. Is that just going up? There's no new subscription?
No, there are.
Okay.
I was the only professional on staff that actually had access to these subscriptions and dues, which really were the American Library Association. I continually write grants, and last year we were given $20,000 to do all of the upgrades to make the library more accessible. We got a scooter, we put in a new bathroom, which is ADA compliant. Well, not a new bathroom, but we put in a new door to the bathroom that's ADA compliant. And our furniture was replaced. That was ADA compliant. That was all under grants. I have asked 2 others who are professional librarians on staff to also apply for grants. That gives us access points for 3 people to apply for grants.
Thank you.
So
Question, can I follow up? Is the subscriptions, is that where Libby comes in?
my books and periodicals.
It's in my books and periodicals?
It's under 670.
Okay. So on that one, this Libby is just us here in the state of New Hampshire, right? Or is it Greater New England?
No, it's national.
Kind of interesting. A personal observation, I had better success getting a book on Minuteman than I do on Libby. I don't know why. That's not for budget
Well,
discussion.
our subscription is through the New Hampshire Library Association.
Yeah.
So we piggyback on their contract with Libby. So I don't know why you're getting it faster. Hoopla is a really great service
That's a good one too, yeah.
And they just give more variety than Libby does. Unfortunately, no one today could get through to Libby or
Yeah, Amazon
Hoopla.
Web Services took a short nap
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
It was beautiful. Yeah, okay, thank you.
600 series. $700 series. $800 series. That's the library budget. Other questions for Allison? Guess you're
I'm
free to
done.
go.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Allison. Had a good one.
Okay, so our next budget is municipal electric department. Municipal electric department, for 2026 proposed budget, $10,974,162, an increase of $225,282, or 2.10%. A couple items relative to the municipal electric department. Number one, this has no impact on the taxpayer whatsoever. This is paid for by the ratepayers of the electric department. One of the things I put off to you as the Board of Selectmen in my weekly notes, and I don't think we need to really dive into it tonight, but I do think that we need to dive into it going forward. There's a lot of talk in the community about our operating budget and our operating budget being extremely high compared to other communities. I think there's a conversation that should take place about breaking the enterprise funds out into separate warrant articles. That would have a general fund operating budget as a standalone warrant article. It would have the water department as a standalone warrant article. It would have the electric department as a standalone warrant article. It would have the sewer department as a standalone warrant article, and the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center as a standalone warrant article. I think for transparency purposes, it would be very helpful. And one of Barry's concerns, operating a utility of this magnitude under a default budget year after year becomes more and more problematic for him to be able to maintain existing level of service of this critical infrastructure. So I think this is a conversation that as we get into crafting warrant articles would be a very prudent conversation to have, and I know Barry's supportive of it. I'm not sure if you want to make a statement to it or not, Barry.
Just like you said, we're electric utility, and it's really tough to tell folks, hey, our tree trimming money is done in August for the year because we're using 2023 numbers, and it's again, it's tough. I mean, we've got 5 more months of the year, and we've got dangerous trees, and we don't have the money to take them down. So it's just a tough way to operate for a utility. We have the lowest rates in the state. I think we've been very successful. Our sales and revenue numbers reflect that. The folks are paying the same amount for their electricity as they do every year, regardless of the budget gets voted up or down, yet we can't provide the same level of service. The money is simply not there.
I have a question. Because the expenses were down, did you retain more revenue this year? Because you aren't able to do all the expenses.
Well, obviously we're really looking at it through September at this point, so it's tough to get a full feel for it, because really that's when we sort of knocked off all of our outside service account, our tree trimming, our large scale contractor stuff ceased in September, so I guess.
So your revenue is still going to come in at the same pace and your spending's going down?
Oh, certainly it should, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It should, in theory. Let's see, our falls, our Novembers are really a common month for us to have a couple storms blow through and sort of ruin that concept, but so far it should be. Our sales are where they've always been, really.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Continue to be, they're going to be at, I think we're up, actually,
Okay.
depending on what we thought we would be.
Yep.
Hot summer, cold winter, that's really the driver for us is weather, so.
So your tree trimming, so how do you get back to where you should be with your tree trimming? Because like you said, we've had the ash borer, we've had a dry season, we've had other factors out there that are causing these trees to die along roadsides, salt, all this other stuff.
So we tried, our goal is to do 10 miles a year, John. We're probably 4 miles behind each year of the last 3 years. So obviously it's money. We've seen the price of tree trimming go through the roof in the last 3 years, and we're working on 2023 numbers. So I guess the start would be, let's see if we can get this year's $400,000 request in outside services moved along, and then we'll go from there. But certainly some of the monies that we had for a warrant article that Public Works had to address dangerous trees has helped a little bit, but you could triple that number and still have trees that need to come down that I feel are dangerous.
So when you have a storm out there and you lose these trees, and then you have to pay your line workers to go fix lines, is there a number that you think you're going to reach?
So one of the things I sort of preach every single year, the number one preventative maintenance item that we can do is tree trimming. It would save us tremendously. The more tree trimming we do, you will see a direct reflection in our overtime costs. And it's not just the trees themselves, but it's the wildlife. It sounds crazy, but our squirrels, the closer you can get them to the trees, they cause a tremendous amount of outages. And when they're within 6 feet of the wires, and they can jump over onto them, we see all kinds of those sort of outage events. It's overtime, it's cost. So Tree trimming is the number one preventative maintenance we can do.
I
So
think those would be called former squirrels.
nuisance outages
To,
is a nice way to say
To
it.
try to answer, Dave?
Yep.
Try to answer maybe a part of the question. 2022 MED's revenues, top line, 10.6 million. 2022 MED top line, 10.597 million. 2023, that was 2023, 2024, 10.9. So the revenues have been fairly constant. And the operating side, the costs all in, have been fairly constant as well, although last year was a little less than what you typically were bringing in, but I don't know why. But your discussion that says tree trimming has to take place and the issue that Jim's bringing up of carving this thing out and having a conversation in a transparent kind of a way, whether this enterprise fund and others should be shown to the voters, I'm all in favor of it. Just on principle, I'm all in favor of it. Now, we have to figure out the grubby details of how we fully assign costs and all that stuff, but I'm all in favor of that conversation.
So when the conversation was breached from Jim to us, I did a little investigation and I found out that Plastow, Hampton, Nottingham, Enfield, Sanbornton, there are lots of towns in New Hampshire that do this. It can be a fairly common practice. Some of them even actually do a separate warrant article for trust funds for employees, severance benefits, and other things too. So there's a lot of ways that we can make our budget more transparent. It will add warrant articles onto our vote. And some people in town, and I see it at the polls, they get frustrated when they say there's 42 warrant articles. But I implore the people, you only vote once a year. Be patient, take your time. Vote on what affects you. It's okay for it to be a long day at the ballot if it makes things transparent and makes things better for the town.
And I think we as a board can start thinking now how many warrant articles we really think we can put out after 2 years of the default budget. That's one of the places I'm going to look.
And I agree with my colleague, both sides, but voters are getting fatigued, and they're more fatigued with the 5-0 kind of things. So we have to just strike a balance here. But back to the question that the town manager put to us about prospectively having this chat, I think that's the right way to go. I do.
Mm-hmm. So the other document that you have in front of you that I gave you this evening is the methodology from 2019 when the administrative allocations formula was changed. We went through and at the request of the budget committee, in working with the budget committee as well, updated the administrative allocation. This was asked for how we come to this number. So the formula is laid out here in front of you. And it basically lays out how we get there. The final page, or the next to final page, rather, of the document lays out the fact that we take the invoices from September through August on an annual basis. We break those out to get the number of invoices for water, municipal electric, and sewer. That also shows the number of sales. That is plugged into the time for the tax collector finance department. We also equate in the public works director's salary because we allocate a portion of that out to the water and sewer. And then it trickles down through this formula that was created to give the electric fund a administrative allocation of $447,733, which I believe is paid out on a quarterly basis from the electric department back. This takes care of all of the billing. Barry does not actually have staff for billing purposes. This helps to as well offset some of Sam's time in the finance department, some of my time as town manager to provide the municipal electric department, the sewer department, the water department, Pop Whalen, the management that they need for each of those entities. So this kind of breaks that out, and then the final page is a history of that, and we utilize the previous year's budgets when we update the formula on an annual basis. So that was asked for. That's in front of you to study. Should you have further questions, please, I would ask that you write them to me, and I can answer them in public. I just want to be sure that I have the question correct.
Yes, can we also put this on the website?
Yep. Yep. Okay, so moving into the electric department's proposed budget. And again, that $10,974,000, that is for all entities under Barry's purview in the municipal electric department. 2.8% of that is personnel administration, which is health and dental insurances, et cetera. 12.3% is for MED administration. 17.6 is for the distribution, which is the staff, the linemen, et cetera. And 67.2% is the generation, which is mostly purchase power. So that gives you a chart as to what his complete entity looks like. Personnel administration for 2026, this is health, dental, life, workers' comp insurance, $303,821. Now, we will see an adjustment of this once we get the rates from school care, which is usually first to second week in November. So as far as the municipal electric administration proposed budget, $1,346,585, an increase of $256.25 or 23.5%. Again, no impact on the taxpayer. This is all funded through the ratepayers, and Barry will be able to explain some of the changes which are taking place within his organization, which he came in front of you last year to discuss, and we're a year into it, and he'll be able to explain that in the 100 series. So we'll jump right into it. 100 series.
Is it, you going to explain?
I will. If you
Okay.
recall, last year, we sort of made a shift in our staffing, not necessarily increasing staffing, but we shift Jeremy Mitchell from the distribution budget, where he worked as a lineman supervisor, and we brought him over to the dark side in the administration budget. Jeremy's sort of been working under me with anticipation he will fulfill that role at some point. So no additional staffing, just shifting some numbers. You're going to see the offset in the distribution budget fairly close to what the increase in the administrative budget is on the 100 and 200 series numbers. Entertain any questions regarding that, or are we just going to scroll down through how? Whatever you feel like.
I mean, I think that answers my question, and I could see the two changes, but I think it's good for the public to hear that.
Yep.
200 series. $300 series.
And the 100 last year, 100 this year, that's Mayhew, for all intents and purposes, Barry, under consultants.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
That 311 line, that's Mayhew, for all intents and purposes.
No, well, part of it is, but much of it is
PLM?
sort of a system planning, PLM or engineering stuff, yeah. Our day ahead purchase power.
Yeah, okay. Flat year over year.
Yep.
And they're doing some of the analysis for you?
Oh, they certainly are, as we're looking forward to our next purchase power agreement. They're currently working on that as we speak.
Right, and so the public, so that expertise, we are in our consultant, not within our own staff. That's
correct.
Right.
That's what I want them to
Yeah, we've been
get.
using Mayhew Sevia of
Yep.
PLM as sort of the specialist in New
Yep.
England for munis and that.
And
In that
Barry, you're in the midst or started to look at the next PPA, purchase power agreement.
We have.
Comment on it, or is it too early?
I think it's a bit early until we get indicative pricing back, which is the first step in the process. I'd feel a little more comfortable at that juncture to make a comment on.
Will you let us know when you get indicative pricing?
We certainly will, yeah.
Thank you.
And Jim will be involved with that.
And I'm wondering why we wouldn't have more in the legal, when we get into that realm, don't we need more legal?
Well, we are actually paying for that out of this year's budget.
Oh, okay.
So
I
this-
thought this looked low here.
Yeah, trust me, the legal is a major
Yes.
portion of the puzzle there. We are actually paying for that out of the 2025 budget.
Okay, so then you feel this is going to be enough for
We
26?
should have it wrapped up by
Okay,
the end of the year.
Okay.
That's the intent, so.
yeah, I just thought that looked awful
Oh,
low.
yeah, the legal for that is much higher.
Yes,
And you'll also note that there's a slight reduction in the administrative allocation of $38,000. That's based on the formula. And just for those, if we didn't make it clear, that's a payment by municipal electric to the general fund for administrative services through the town. .400 series.
Again, as Allison spoke, as we get some time under our belt with our solar down there, we've sort of lowered our electric consumption each year, and that's why you see the bump downwards and a downward trend for this one from 11.3 down to 85.5.
and do you think that will go down lower?
I think we're probably right about where we should be at 8,500.
Okay,
When did those go in, Barry?
We're 3 years into it.
02? 02 or 03?
I think it was 23.
All right, so you've had enough experience, and we're in the libraries.
Yeah, it went in the very end, though, of the year, so, and then we did some changes to the building internally, so, yeah, we've got some pretty good data.
You got some data. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Feel comfortable with that number.
.500 series.
You're going to see 560. We took a $3,000 jump, dues and subscriptions, but that's the 2023 number you're reflecting
Yes.
back on. So it's sort of done that gradual increase. It's just now you're seeing it all at once in the 2026 budget.
Excellent.
600 series.
I just want the public to know why we're not making match comment. There's very little increase or zero. You know,
He's not wobbling.
it's hard to say, oh,
As you know, I prepare my budgets pretty thin to the bone. We try to do everything we can with what.
Well,
Without being
and just
too
again, Linda's right,
extravagant.
for the benefit of those watching, and if there is a jump, I'll give you one, it'll come up in the next line of 117%. Someone will go, oh my God, the percentage lift on that is outrageous. Well, it's going from $750 to $1,600. So it's, and it's for things called professional development, travel, and meetings. So it's on a percentage basis, it looks like outrageous, but on a dollar basis, when you sum it up, the budget looks pretty flat.
And citizens have to realize, when you go back 2 years in a default budget, and then you think, okay, we're in 2 default budgets, our next budget is only going to be up a little, You're taking expenses from 2023, and you're adding 2 years of inflation and adjustments to them. So look at how everything in the world has gone up in the last 2 years. So it's very difficult, it's impossible to come out of 2 years of a default budget and have a budget that isn't going to have an increase. That's just, it can't happen. We have to make it as reasonable as possible, but that's just the way it is.
If I can just speak also with professional development, travel and meetings, you're going to see this throughout. We're trying to bring up young people through the ranks, which means training, seminars. Jeremy's been attending faithfully. So that's all part of it, you know.
Got it.
When I
We
was 20
gain by
years younger,
that.
I was much more involved in that as well.
Yeah.
But
We as a town gain by having them educated. Just no two ways about that.
800 series, I want to kick this one off. Barry should speak to the 830 line.
Yep.
Last year, we had a study done. This is the pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes. Barry, you want to speak to the study that was done and how we came to this number?
So this was great. The default budget, this was the one place the default budget helped me last year. Because the prior year to that, we did an appraisal of the department, which hadn't been done in a long time. So we were sort of going by the tax rate and having an incremental increase. It was really, we were pulling numbers and floating them. Last year, we did a formal appraisal, 23, maybe it was 23.
23 beginning in 24 it ended.
Yeah. We did a formal appraisal of our department value, and based on that, we were able to come up with a real payment in lieu of taxes number based on our valuation. Because it was a default budget, that increase didn't take effect. It didn't take effect last year.
You were a happy guy.
Yeah, we skipped out of that because, as you know, after 20 years, the price was way off what we were paying before. You can see it here. I mean,
So if that's,
the difference.
So- is that fair market value FMV? Is that what that is, fair market value? So the fair market value of MED is 16.3, 150%?
That was as
So it's
of
1.5 times
2024.
revenues.
So there you go.
So if you wanted to buy something like this, you'd pay 150% of revenues to take it over. Okay,
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's right on track. So anyways, with that, we, this year, we've reflected the number to represent what it should have been last year, but the default budget saved me.
And this calculation will always run 1 year in the arrears. So when you look at that, you'll see the 2024 numbers. Next year, it'll say 2025, and it'll be updated to reflect current numbers as far as equalization rate, equalization valuation, tax rate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to get to that formula. So it'll always run 1 year in the arrears.
So could I just add or ask a question? So that, we just finished the reappraising of properties, and that goes into the calculus, right, of the fair market value of MED?
Yeah, I mean, he
So-
used several different methodologies,
Yeah.
but certainly that was.
Some part of the equation is appraisal of property. And so the fair market value, reasonably speaking, unless the world comes to an end, of MED is going to be substantially higher than what it is at 16.3.
Well, it was at 16.3 as of 2024, and that was 100%, where we're pulling our real estate value now from 2020, so that is a bigger lift. So they aren't
So they're
exactly
not going to
equal.
be tremendously different, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to think that this is going to double, because,
Going up.
but it's not going up that much.
Please, no.
Anything else in the 800 series? So electric distribution for 2026, proposed budget, $1,952,558, a decrease of $15,791 or 0.8%. Again, no tax rate impact. And you'll see some of the offsetting reductions as Barry mentioned, by pulling Jeremy into administration and as well replacing some retired staff with staff that isn't making the same wage as they're going through their training program, which you'll see in this for professional development as well. Barry, anything you want to add before you get started?
No, I think you covered the offset there in the administration budget. That is the case. Younger apprentices, Jeremy switching over, so no additional staff.
Do you still have one position open?
If the way we're configured right now, as long as I'm still there, that won't be the case. I think when I leave, there may be a determination to move some. I can promise you.
So this position that is here, that is not, has no funds, is a union position, and that's why it's here? Why is it here? Why are we even seeing that?
I think you could make a case that, and I don't want to throw myself at the door, but when I decide to retire, Jeremy, the intent is he moves into this position. There will be an individual which typically has been the line crew supervisor. Jeremy's sort of filling both of those roles.
He's doing two roles,
He's
okay.
sort of doing both of them.
Okay.
But as that shifts, the line crew supervisor position will be a position that will return. I'm assuming, well, that is the intent.
So the part
Yeah.
we didn't know is Jeremy has two
Yeah,
roles.
So he's
and so
doing
that
a
is
dual
why
role
this,
right now,
okay.
and because I'm there, I think we together can make it work, but
Okay.
We've also had conversations with, if all of a sudden Jeremy decides, this isn't for me, there's an avenue for him to go back.
Okay. Thank you for the
we're not
explanation.
going to let him do that.
No, I'm not.
He's coming along just fine. We're not letting him do
In
that.
your opinion.
Now, there may be a time when we look at just the nature of our growth and everything else here that we need to add positions. I could see that happening within the next 10 years, but that really isn't the intent.
What's here? That's
It's just
why
sort of
my
a
question was.
shuffle back or forward.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you.
Any challenges in finding employees?
You can find apprentices. If I put an ad out, I'd have 30 apprentice resumes tomorrow. It's tough to find individuals who are trained as first-class line workers. You basically got to bring up your own people from the bottom up. They can go anywhere and work anywhere. It's tough to get a trained individual, and they can name their price. So.
And Barry, you've been very comfortable with us having our own employees. For a while, we used to contract in, and that was what, 5 years ago we did that?
Oh, no, we're approaching 15 years, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
It seems like
can you
yesterday.
believe that? I
Seems like
know.
yesterday.
It does.
It does.
Funniest thing about
We
that.
contracted for a number of years, and it's been in the town's best interest. It's been in the department's best interest to go back and have our own crews. We have that, and I think we gain sort of that local, folks want to live in the area, that work here, they have a part of the system, and it's gone really well. That's the one thing I'm very proud that we were able to do that, take that back. So.
Okay.
200 series. .300 series.
So, John, you mentioned outside services, tree trimming. The 380 account is our big account where we do all our tree trimming. Anytime we need to bring in outside help, storm damage, drilling ledge, you name it. This is the one. We also have to do an arc flash study next year, so that's. We asked for 4. We're trying to ask for what we think will be accepted, but we could probably, you could add 200,000 to this and we could spend the money. It is what it is. I just,
So do you have 200,000 to put in there?
Do we have 200,000? It's the voters that need to approve that. Could we do that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's feasible, but it would represent a large jump in our budget. And just the way things are going, I just don't know how popular that would be overall. Even though it's it's being covered by not the tax rate, but the electric rate. I still think there's a perception out there that the two have an interconnection, which
Well, you'd cover it with your gross margin, and you probably don't want to do that, because then it starts to pick away at what you can put in the bank for your future investments.
it's a big jump, but
I guess that's part of my question. When you had a default and you had your revenue still come in, did we generate some that could go over into that area, which took a big hit? That's kind of where I was heading when I was trying to get to that.
we have a healthy, I was listening to the audit the other night, and we have a healthy unrestricted fund balance. Now, certainly, yeah, could it cover that? Yeah, it could, but I don't want people to think that, oh, that's just an endless bank. I mean, we lose a substation or something, you could be $3.5 million into it, so it's not, but.
I was thinking more on what, by having a default budget in '25, and some expenses are down, or even what you made in '24, which you can count on, whether that gave you more revenue. That's what where I was kind of going.
Okay, I understand. I'd probably really like to see the full year stuff and, revenue and get a full year of it to make that statement that it really made a big difference or not. If anybody would like to add money to that account, I'm not going to.
You're going to take it?
I'm not going to turn it down.
Very
but,
thoughtful of you to do that.
It's a $65,000 increase, and
Well, I'd make a motion to put 50,000 more into the right-of-way tree trimming account.
appreciate the effort, John.
So, John, I'll just tell you, I think he's got a little bit of gross margin that he has. If he has to do something special, he can take it out of gross margin. I trust what he's doing. Makes sense. I wouldn't do it any other way.
And he wouldn't tell me he definitely had, and so he wanted it. I tried.
But he did have the handout.
I tried.
I know, and that's why I'm
laid it out
saying
there.
if he's
I'm
not going to
saying
put
I'm
his
not-
neck out, I'm not going to put something in his hand.
It wasn't that long ago that we prepared this budget, and that was my number. So, but as we progress and we're 2 months deeper, and I've got all these trees, and I keep looking at them, but that's really, it is what it is. Yeah.
400 series. $600 series.
Yes, 610. Are you continually seeing a increase in the prices of your supplies, and are you expecting that to go up?
Yeah, it's leveled off a bit, but again, the 275 represents 2023's numbers. So what we're asking now is sort of just to keep up with that inflation. Yeah, they're going up. They're just something to keep in mind with this one. If you look at the bottom line of job work sales, so when we do work and we build lines and we do projects for folks, it's all billable. So not that it goes directly back into our budget, but there is an offset. And you can see as of August 5th, we've taken in $183,000.
And those are numbers based on the approval you just got from the board to
Right, we just did that.
adjust your rates, correct?
So, some of those would be reflected in that, yes. Yeah, some of those attachment fees and make-ready work, that's all part of that number, right?
Barry, is this 610 line, is this also your, the transformers, is that in this?
That's where I was thinking.
Yeah, dual
voltage
voltage
transformers.
transformers, yeah.
So what do you, those things are made onshore or they're made offshore?
That's what I was going to just ask.
There's where I was at.
Are they made on shrimp?
They're made everywhere. We typically, obviously, like to buy American. We don't make it in this, in.
So you're not putting anything in here that, because it doesn't look like a hedge. You're not hedging, saying I'm cranking up the ask on a hedge basis.
No, we put them out to bid. We put all of these items, and Judy, I can't commend her enough. She puts every weekly order out to bid on a weekly basis from our 3 suppliers, and we get the best price. And we'll look over. Transformers are a little difficult. You have to look at not only the price, but you have to look at the losses. In other words, just to have the thing humming costs money. You have to look at those things, what the windings are made out of. There's some other stuff besides just price.
Haven't we had trouble with the length of time for some of the larger ones, which
During
is,
the COVID,
is that changed?
It's shortened.
Okay.
It's not like it was pre-COVID, but now versus waiting over 12, 13 months, we're down to 3-4 months.
Okay.
So it's doable. It's workable now instead of.
That's better.
We were buying stuff in one year and then have to pay for them the following year. It was that bad. It was that long a lead time, so.
But you have sufficient inventory sitting out in the front yard? You do?
We do. We saw projects like Harriman Hill coming down the line 3 years ago. I'm kind of glad it got delayed because it allowed those transformers to all come in. So we're in pretty good shape. I mean, I hate to say, a storm comes in, everybody's scrambling like everybody is.
Everybody does.
But
We're in good shape.
You're better off than we were after COVID when we were waiting, a year, 2 years for some of the bigger ones.
Yep.
Okay.
We certainly are. We just got some pad mounts, last week? Yeah, so they're coming in.
And now we're faced with electrify everything, so that probably in the future is going to have an impact on your ability.
One of the things with transformers, and this is getting off topic a bit, but the Department of Energy has placed these almost unrealistic standards on our transformers as far as what their energy losses need to be. And there's only like 2 mines in the whole world where you can get that iron ore for the core that will meet that standard. And both of those places are overseas. And so we've shot ourselves in the foot in this country with that kind of standard. That's a whole other topic.
It is.
And I'm sure that you saw the 60 Minutes spotlight on the hacking into the electrical grid in Littleton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And you think, why would they bother hacking into a town of 12 or 14,000 people in Massachusetts?
Their department's not much bigger than us. In fact, that's where we do a lot of our training at their town facility. It can happen.
Yeah.
It's wild.
$700 series. $800 series.
Again, as I spoke to the training, travel and meetings, all part of that.
900 series, you can see his debt service is going in the right direction for us.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
Any questions on distribution?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the 380 line again, right-of-way tree trimming. So is that the 10 mile, the 220,000, or is that the 4 mile number?
I'm sorry, John.
So
my hearing is
you gave us testimony that you've been trimming about 4 miles, and you should be trimming about 10 miles.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. What we found though with the ash, we no longer pay for trees like those ash trees. We have to pay hourly for those, so it's more expensive. So that's why it's a combination of the two, not having enough money to continue our 10-mile, distance, but also the fact that we spent a lot of hourly money on these takedowns.
So again, with 50,000, you would be able to do 1 more mile.
$50,000 would probably get us an additional 12 weeks of trimming. That would be for about 12 weeks.
And over the last 2 years, how many weeks have we lost with the default budget?
Well, we've typically had our tree trimmers here through the end of the year, the full year, right through mid-December, normally. We cut them loose in August this year, because that's when our money was overexpended, so we've probably lost 4 months anyway.
So when you have a storm, would you spend $50,000 in the storm?
Probably in 2 days,
Okay,
yeah.
just my board understands that.
Okay, so your next budget is electric generation, 2026, $7,371,298, a decrease of $42,355 or 0.6%. Again, this is funded by the ratepayer, not by taxation. And there are a couple other minor lines in here that Barry will be able to go through. 100 series.
So this is, we do our meter reading out of this, the generation line item, so this is our meter reading staff. There's 2 part-timers.
$200 series. $300 series. $400 series.
So it seems crazy, electricity is down a little bit this year, and then we were paying a surcharge for the Mystic River Generation Station,
Which just went offline.
which they wanted to put offline down in Everett, Mass. sooner, but the ISO New England sort of forced them to keep it on for another year, and all the members of ISO had to pick up the tab for that. So that's why finally it's offline, and our power went down a little bit because of that.
What's the 410, Barry? I'm not sure I understand the Eversource interconnection discussion with that.
So, part of being connected to the grid, you've got the Highline grid, and then you get knocked down to 34.5, but Eversource actually owns a section of our 390 line from Tuftonboro back. So we have to pay them for use of that line. Eversource also provides our metering. We have our master meter out there right at the town line
On the big pipes.
at the RIB site.
On the big pipe, yeah. On the big pipe, on the 390 line, they meter that?
They meter the 390,
Got
yeah,
it.
at 34.5
Thank
kV. So
I now understand.
those are the services, the interconnection and delivery that we pay for from them. Yep.
So we own to our boundary on the
Right.
390, because we just redid that.
Yep.
And then from there is where Eversource runs to where?
Eversource owns that system back to the
Where?
White Lake substation is where, the interconnection is, which is up in Chicora. And then
Yep.
and then it goes, it gets, I don't know, ownership from there is probably, what's the voltage on those? 112, 115? So it's a whole other ballgame once it gets up into that.
And that's a lot of times when we have a big power outage, it's usually when that gets hit the other side of us, because we have the ability to repair our line.
So when we did our major our rebuild on the 390 line, we put a switch in right at
Yep.
the town line, where in the past we didn't have a switch.
Yep.
So it was either on or off. And we had to rely on Eversource to come out, open their switch. In the meantime, they're having trouble, so we're waiting 6-8 hours to get a guy out there to operate a switch. So that was delaying a lot of things. So when we rebuilt that, we added a switch. So now we can go in and open that switch. Our crews can actually, if we can repair it on the 390 line, we'll do that. And then we can put the switch back in. So we've saved a lot of outage time with that switch. Yep.
Yep.
just to clarify something, we cannot work, our folks cannot work that voltage live, the 34.5, the 390 line. We can't operate that live. That's another level of training, certification, equipment requirements. Yeah, so we do not work that hot. And not many folks do. Not many utility folks do.
And that's why you had the switch?
Right, we can work it dead.
Yep.
.600 series. And that's the generation budget.
That's it. Thank you. Thanks, Barry.
Barry has 2 capital outlays that he'd like for you to consider this evening. We've chatted about both of them, and both of them are projects which should go forward, and Barry can speak to them.
So, I don't know if you have them, do you? You
Yep.
must, you're at them. So I have two capital outlays. The first one is our armory building. Again, we like to keep up with it. I think we've done projects to improve many things down there over the years and keep up with it. One of the troubles we've had for the last 20 years down there is the windows in that place are terrible. Even though they were replaced in, whenever we moved in there, 2000, 2003, they were a vinyl window. I think they were actually, I don't know what to name the, I don't even remember the name of the supplier, but they were a brand name vinyl window. But because of how big they are, they're a storefront window, the company had trouble with them being in the southern exposure, sagging. The vinyl all sagged on all of those windows at the sash, all the way around, top, bottom, mid. And because of that, it's like standing in front of an open window year round. It's crazy. We've put plastic over them. We've done a number of things. In fact, this winter we're going to put 2-inch styrofoam insulation over the windows in the front because that's where Judy's desk is, and it's just, you can see the papers blowing in front of the windows. They're bad. So my project is to replace those windows with more of a commercial grade storefront style window, aluminum framed window, to try to resolve those issues. At the same time, I would go through, and although we had the brick all washed and repointed when we moved in there originally, that was over 25 years ago, it's due for that again. I'd like to have the brick all repointed, some of the moss that's going all cleaned up, fix any holes, patches, broken brick. Between that, the windows, and then even we've kicked around the idea of adding some awnings to the front in that southern exposure because of the sun, how it radiates in there. So that we're doing that, proposed as a combined project. We've put in $80,000 for that. We've got good estimates. We've gone out. Jeremy's done his due diligence. We've had vendors and contractors, and so that's our building project for 2026. Mm-hmm. I think ultimately it'll save us on the heating end and the cooling end for that matter. So.
Not the same mason contractor that did the front of this building, is it, or is it?
I mean, we'll bid this, Brian. This is 2026 we'll bid the project out when we do it. So we haven't selected a contractor yet without money approval.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to have a contractor having brick buildings in town that helps us with all our different structures.
Bid it out.
I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, we
Policy.
follow the bid policy. That's how we do it. I could entertain any questions for that one if there are any.
So how much money do you think we saved by doing the plastic sash windows?
We didn't save any money on the vinyl clad windows. Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't save anything. And then we found out recently, as we had vendors come and look at these, that the particular company that supplied them they discontinued making them for that very reason. They had a very short run,
Yeah,
and it's a common problem.
yeah.
So is that under your purview or somebody else's purview that recommended those?
It was an architect that,
Oh, an
they were the
architect.
latest and greatest at the time, like a lot of new things that pop out there, you know, without having, look, I'm looking. Yeah, it was done back in 2002, probably.
So do you think the equity in the building would offset the cost for the $80,000? So it would basically be, you would be putting $80,000 into a building that's already increased in equity?
Oh, it's certainly going to increase the equity, but you know, we don't own the building. The town of Wolfeboro owns that building, we rent it, so
He's paying us.
we're going to supply you,
That's right.
we're going to supply you a treat
Okay.
by
good idea.
replacing your windows.
All right, good idea.
Thank you.
Pay a rental.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing that.
That's another conversation for
Yeah,
another day.
don't get him started on
Don't
this.
get me going on the rental.
I think it's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
And his second one.
And the second one, so those of you folks who've been on the CIP or participated in the CIP know that we've had a project on our 10-year plan to redo the submarine cables out to Melody and Kenniston Island, which currently feed from over in Lakeside and Alton. We'll put in the mid-70s, early 70s, probably 74. We know we need to do something with those cables. I want to replace those cables before I'm gone.
I think you were saying that this is the last big old project you're working on from a cable replacement point of view, isn't it?
Well, beyond what DOT is going to force us to do here on South Main, yeah, that would be
No,
probably
this is the last
one
big
of our-
old one that you had.
Unless Beach Pond's still on the agenda too, but this would be the next priority one, yeah. Submarine cables, I'd love to feed them from the end of Clark Road, so we have the source to those islands here in Wolfeboro, instead of having to drive all the way down there, shovel out a pad mount transformer and try to disconnect. It's a nightmare. It's not fused correctly. We can't fuse it correctly. When something happens on the island, it knocks the whole development of Lakeside out down Alton because there's no other way to fuse it the way it's set up.
Lovely.
It's really, it's hokey doke. But, so this money we're asking for next year, which I believe is 90,000?
Yep.
Yep. Would be for the system design, some of the engineering work, some of the permitting for putting the cable in the lake from a new direction.
You have to build a new vault.
So, it wouldn't be a vault. We'd probably have to do some directional boring, much like we're gonna be doing on Kenniston Island next week. What I'd love to do, and we haven't found any reason that we can't do it from a deed restriction, is I'd love to feed it in between where McKinney Park butts up to the private properties that used to be the Zulof's property
Yep,
there.
yep.
There's sort of a right-of-way that's pre-existing. I'd love to directional bore down through that right-of-way, and it would leave us with a really nice place to put our fusing and our poles. It gets us closer to our substation, so we know we'd have decent voltage. We'd run duplicate cables out there, so we have some redundancy, and then we'd be good for the next 50 years. Because the ones that are out there now are 50-plus years. So,
Now, have you replaced the poles on those islands, or are you in the process, or where are we?
we have a project on the books right now for Melody and Kenniston.
Yes.
So we're still working on some of that. Like I said, we're doing some directional boring next week
Yep.
to get rid of the riser pole. We haven't put it out to bid yet, so you can blame me on that one, Brian. I hope to get that thing out to bid a couple weeks ago, but
So this development out on Kenniston and Melody, are you doing it so that the new feed becomes easy to do?
so what we're doing is we're building the pole line structure out there in a manner where we can reverse direction the feed.
Correct.
Okay, right now, it's not laid out that way, but we're building it so that we can reverse direction. Currently, it goes from barn door to Keniston to Melody. We're gonna feed it in the reverse direction, Melody to Keniston to barn door. But we are building it in a way to accommodate that reverse feed. We're gonna have poles on the shorelines and the way we're gonna have it fused and everything, we can do that. So,
Excellent.
yeah, we've taken that into consideration. So, yeah, the actual poles and stuff will probably commence in the spring, unless somebody's willing to go out there in the winter. If we get good ice, it wouldn't be bad, but it's hard to plan on ice nowadays. So, anyways, those are my two projects. Get the engineering done this year, and then try to get the project actually slated and out to bid for the cable laying following year, 27.
And these would have no impact on the tax rate.
Again, none of these do, yeah. And if I could add one more thing, I think there's some perception out there that I was hearing about the audit report, that some of our unrestricted fund balance could be used in a manner to offset taxes. That's not the way it works.
Nope.
Please.
We got it, we
Our
know.
electric customers may not necessarily be property owners, and then you're gonna have property owners that don't have any electric whatsoever. So that's not the way it works. It's unrestricted fund balance of the electric department, which is paid for by the ratepayers. So just keep that in mind.
And as an enterprise fund, it is a business unto itself, and it even says
Correct.
that on our audit, their business.
Correct.
Just like the town can't use its unassigned fund balance to bail out the insurance issue at the school department.
Same thing. So. With that, that's
When
all I
I
have.
saw, when I heard of the potential discussion of this tonight, I asked the town manager, before we even venture into this conversation, it would be, in my view, most appropriate if we just go pick up the piece of paper that defines what an enterprise fund is, so that there's no misunderstanding of what an enterprise fund is. It only has three components to it. Sets rates and charges money, pays its bills, keeps enough money to fund its capital. Those are the three things an enterprise fund's supposed to do. And then we have, to Linda's point, we have all kinds of, the state and all of us, we have all kinds of, what would you call it, protections?
I would say that.
Stuff around it, almost like a force field to ensure that we can't just, kind of pick things out of it. But I think it's important, if we're going to explore this conversation with the public, just make absolutely clear that we all have a common understanding of what an enterprise fund is. And that way, there's no misunderstanding. And so we can kind of look at how this thing ought to work. Okay? Barry, thank you for your,
All right, thank
your
you.
great work.
You guys all set? Yeah. This is your budget too, right? What's that? That's your budget too. No thanks. Good evening.
Bye, Barry.
Okay, so that takes care of the electric department budget. Your next budget up is the Libby Museum. 2026 proposed budget, $39,010, a decrease of $8,851 or 18.5% as compared to last year. Last year, you as the board did go through and made some significant cuts in this budget. However, with the default budget, a lot of those cuts got put back into the budget. I basically have gone through the budget, put it together how I see it, if the Libby Museum were to open.
Had it
It's
in general government.
yeah, it's in general government, it's about
I know.
that thick down.
Yeah.
About that thick.
That thick,
Those are the ones we did, it's the next one.
page number.
There's no
posted.
page number, don't start us.
Page number 2, but you have to find 2. There's about 400, there's 400 page number 2s. That's what Post-it notes are for.
That's why I have one here.
1 in 200 series.
I don't see it. It's in
It's there,
General government.
general government, it's back.
General government, go to where that yellow Post-it note.
There it is.
You got it.
300 series.
Did we do the salaries?
I asked 100, 200.
Do we have just the salaries? We don't have any? It's not the same sheet. Are we going to keep a supervisor? This is to asking the board, are we going to have staff? Do we want to leave that in? I just, we got a building right now that we can't open. We're just patching the back wall. We'd have to do another repair to really stabilize the whole thing.
My only question would be how much our current staff is going to be involved if we partner with the Friends of Libby and start moving the collection out of the building. Are we going to need assistance from a staff member who's part of this Libby budget at that time?
Mr. Chairman, what he said.
Yeah.
We received the other night from Maggie a prospective collections document. That document now gives us, subject to the Friends of the Libby and the Ad hoc Heritage Commission having a chat, gives us an opportunity to get clarity on the question that Brian just raised. If that collection has to move, how does it move? That probably will require somebody from the town to be a party to that. I don't know whether the budget proposed here makes sense, economically speaking or not, but I'd put it in there and keep it there for the moment.
Yeah, I guess I want to revisit, because do we know whether the woman who is the director plans to come back? And then we have a list of 3 part-time workers. We may want to deal with where we want to go and then come back to this budget is kind of where I am. The way it's written out on the salary, I just don't think we have it.
I'd be okay
Yeah,
with that.
I mean, maybe there's a potential we could hire a consultant for less money than this to oversee the moving of the
Revisit.
collection.
Well, once the board, if we decide to go down that path, then we would know what to do here. And that's, I guess, my question. That's why I brought it up. So I would like to revisit, and hopefully we have that answer.
Everybody agree with that?
Yep.
We all
Yes.
agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, are we talking 100 series or the full budget?
100 and
series.
200 series.
I don't think there was anything else much
I don't
in
think
there.
there's anything else to
I thought that was the only thing in there, really. That's what I was, got whacked, that got whacked.
Now, as I looked over, there's nothing else I would put back in other than
Yep.
the labor,
Nothing else.
which we would have to somehow, contemplate hiring, recruiting, whatever the right ing word is. Linda's right, we have some part-time wages that are in there that probably would want to revisit
I would like to revisit the full budget, because what that budget looks like after we maybe make a decision may be very different.
okay.
Jim, what was the cost to store the artifacts for 5 years before? Do you remember that number?
Let me see if I have it in the 5 years. I am not sure if it actually gives a line item or not. I don't think there's a specific line item in the Muni Smart report, so I would have to do a little bit more research, Brian, to find that
Okay.
number for you.
Are you talking about the one that they gave us? No.
Yeah,
We gave ourselves.
we had a number that we were going to use when we had the warrant article for the construction of the building. And that was a number to store it for 5 years, up to 5 years, I think.
It was moving it out and storing it.
Moving it out and storing it for that
there
period
was
of
a-
time, which
think it was
now the Friends of
100.
Liberty
I
are
think it was
offering to do for us for no charge.
Yeah,
I think it was like $170,000.
That's what I remember is $170,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I misunderstood you, because we were taking some of the artifacts on an annual basis and putting them in storage, and I thought that's what you meant. I agree with you, it's in that 170 range.
Okay. So all we need to do is figure out in the revisit, we have to make a determination whether we want to store those artifacts someplace safer for the next 5 years for no cost to the taxpayer, which,
that's right. That's what I was waiting for us to make that decision. That's my reason to say, let's just leave this.
Yep.
Let's make a decision and then let's come back and then we'll know what to put in here. Right now, I don't know.
yeah,
Okay,
And it may be zero.
correct.
budget tabled. Next budget is your executive budget. Executive budget, $296,440, an increase of $63,784, or 27.4% over 2025. We'll go through these line by line. I know that there's one item that will require an adjustment on the floor this evening, and I think that there's some people to speak on behalf of Wolfeboro Community TV tonight. So, 100 series.
I just want to point out in the 100 series, there is part-time wage, which is, it says Chamber of Commerce. That should not be Chamber of Commerce. It's our information booth.
Correct,
That's in that building, but it's our information booth.
correct. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
So what page are you on?
I'm looking at the executive budget, and I'm going back to the page that lists the salaries, and it says part-time wages, and it says Chamber of Commerce. It's our information booth. It's on mine, it's the third page back. And it lists who.
Part-time
Leanne,
wages, Joy Perkins, and then it says Chamber of Commerce.
Do you have the executive budget? Because I had to go in specially to get an executive budget. Because I didn't have it in my book. And when I went to go through it, I didn't have it. So I had to go in and have Amy print it up for me.
Which is what I did.
No, John?
So should we table this budget?
I think
Because
we
it seems
got
like
people-
Linda and I are the only ones that have it.
Can we
I
give,
don't have it.
because I'd like to at least do the ones where we've got people here.
Yep.
And other than that, we don't have to make any of the, we've got people here for, Dave, I'm going to pull mine out of my budget. I'm going to give it to you. And maybe, John, you can look on with Dave. I've looked through it, and I think I can do it. And if I've got a question, I'll look at.
So your Wolfeboro Community TV budget is up on the board. Line 380, Wolfeboro Community Television, offset by franchise fees that come in. Their budget for last year was $105,000. This year, they're asking for $155 and some change. I believe this is the same ask they asked for last year, and I believe there's some people here this evening who would like to speak on behalf of this budget, and I'm not sure how you'd like to handle them coming up and speaking to you, but
I think they should speak.
you're here.
We're here. Come on up.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just bring it, just almost eat your microphone.
I forgot. I don't have a lot of practice at this. Anyway, I'm here to read a statement on behalf of Wolfeboro Community TV. Good evening. My name is Phil Holberton, and I've been part of the WCTV since January 2025 as the treasurer. My primary focus as treasurer is to help with strategy and to incorporate risk evaluation in everything we do. Since this is a review of the 2026 budget, I'm here tonight representing our board of directors. So this is not just me, this is representing the entire organization. Mary Shoref, who's right over here, is our chair, and also the Governor Wentworth Regional School Director Representative. Brenda Jarrett, who is not available tonight, is our vice chair. Mary DeVries is the Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce representative. She also is not available tonight. Suzanne Morrissey, who represents Brewster, was here earlier, had to walk out and maybe come back. Our executive director, who everybody knows here, Timothy Goodwin, is right over here, and he'll probably be helpful in answering any questions that come up. And Kathy Tetrault is the Lakes Region Tech Center representative, completes our team. Oh, by the way, I forgot Linda Murray, who's our representative from the select board. And this is not in my script, but Linda's been very, very helpful at helping us get on the right track. And for that, I personally am very appreciative. I'm sure our team is too. This year, after the default budget, the board took matters into its own hands and started external fundraising. As of October 31st, we are moving from phase 1 of our fundraising campaign called Save Our Station. It was labeled Save Our Station, and we're moving into the second year of a 3-year plan to raise up to $250,000. So we've had some generous donations by family foundations, which we can't really talk about, but we got enough to, get going ourselves. As one of the board members likes to say, we're doing 6 years of work in 6 months. I mean, we are really putting the pedal to the metal. So for historical context, for the years 2024 and 2025, we have been forced to work within the confines of the default budget. For WCTV, the 2024 budget for the town was 105, and again in 2025, still 105. For all practical purposes, WCTV's only customer up to now has been the town of Wolfeboro, where the town relied on Breeze Line franchise fees to basically pay for our services. The very name of Wolfeboro Community Television communicates that we serve the entire community of Wolfeboro and the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. One primary focus in 2026 will be expanding our services to incorporate other content development. So adding new sources of customers and bringing down Wolfeboro community will not be 100%. I mean, so select board won't be 100% of the business. Like any business, there will be early successes and probably disappointments. But I want to say one thing, our board is equipped and wants to change our future and be in charge of our future. Our budget this year still has the town of Wolfeboro as our primary customer, as I mentioned. We anticipate the cost of the town of Wolfeboro will still fall within the range of $105,000, which translate to production costs of approximately $350 an hour, based on the average of 300 hours over the past couple of years. This is the number we locked into the past 6 years. Our new plan is to bill the town monthly based on actual usage. So we're going to move to a different business model. We're just not going to rely on franchise fees. We're going to actually bill for usage, and we'll see how that goes. The WCTV Board of Directors and our Executive Director are working to find other means of revenue to cover the overhead costs of the organization. And we expect you will see a lot more sponsored content coming from the WCTV studios in the future. In 2024, we produced 118 meetings for the town, utilizing a total of 300 hours of production time allocated explicitly for the town. We are submitting to the WCTV budget to the town tonight, highlights are following. Town of Wolfeboro, $105,000, the same amount as last year. Other production services, $30,000, as I referenced earlier. We expect to be creating new customers that will be billing them. The total WCTV revenues expected will be $245,000. The ask from the town for 2026 will be $105,000, compared with the 2025 ask of $191,000. So like every other department that's been here before us, you know, every year we're still working off a default budget. On behalf of the Wolfeboro Community Television, we want to continue to partner with the town to be your communications platform. Again, the very name of Wolfeboro Community Television communicates that we serve the entire community of Wolfeboro and the Governor Wentworth Regional School District. And be open to any questions that you might have. I have a copy of this I'll leave with each of you so you can look at it when you go home and have some time.
Can we also put that in the budget book for the budget committee so they have it ahead of time to read it?
I've got plenty of copies here. I'll hand them out to you. Can you wait until I'm done, or you want it now?
No, I can wait.
So what portion is the Governor Wentworth School District going to contribute as far as their programming, and what type of stuff are you going to be able to put up for them?
Well, I'm going to ask Timothy to join me if he wants, because he's a part of our, let's say, product development team. I would say that sports in the Wentworth Regional is a good angle to get to. We just have to figure out how to get to doing filming sports and so forth and so on. We want to be in the business of filming activities around Wolfeboro that are absolutely interested to our, viewers, mostly all through YouTube, not through the over the top, the PEG or the Channel 26, as we like to call it. So I can't tell you exactly how much that's going to be, because we're getting started now to do that. And for example, Timothy and I are getting ready to meet with the Wright Museum to talk about their lecture series. And we can actually work with them on getting that sponsored. And that could be another customer that can go up on the website and on YouTube and be available for people around the country to look at. That would be exciting when you can get content that can be used to look all around the, people who are here in the summer but go to Florida or something in the winter.
So that's the luxury of YouTube. You don't have to have a time slot because everybody's all in the line. You just pick one.
Right. And I think we're working on what's that?
He's behind you.
Ready to go, Phil, when you're ready.
Yeah.
He's at a mic, you're good to go.
This is actually fun
Just
watching Timothy come to the microphone.
We can do it this way or that way.
Timothy, please.
Thank you, Phil.
Can you speak up to the microphone, please?
I'm trying to. Is it not coming through?
No, I'm teasing.
Okay. Phil nailed it on the head. We're in the process of this whole thing. This 6 years and 6 months is going to take more than 6 months, really, to make the changes that we need to do, but we're on the right track. And our board is focused on making the changes that need to happen. Met today with 2 representatives from the school to talk about the potential of having students doing some content for the school and making changes in that regard. And we don't have numbers yet. The school is actually working on. We met with them less than a month ago. And they're working on giving us a number that we could share with you as to the value of our ability to be in their space, use electricity. We're on backup generators for the school. When power goes out, WCTV keeps going. And it's because of our relationship with the school. We had some changes done a couple of years ago in there to make that happen. So we don't have an answer for you, John, that says this is the number or the value that we're getting from the school, but the school is working with us to be sure that as our content grows, that they're finding ways to make that be supported. either volunteers or staff of the school, and they're working with us. We may need to provide a staff member to be a mentor to the students that want to be in some kind of a work-study program. It's all being discussed right now, but that's the answer for that. And then Phil did touch on the other idea that we have, the board has, is to break away from the franchise fees cover everything. And that was the intent initially when this kind of cable companies were started, or public access TV stations were started, was that the people who got the cable TV paid for content through their franchise fees, and then it was, distributed to the town for the town to choose how they wanted to use those monies. So Wolfeboro thankfully said, let's support a nonprofit organization that can do this for us as a town. We did community things. We paid, staff to do parades and the whole 9 yards. And at this point, we're realizing we need to, we've been realizing, but we need to find sponsors and find, those people who want to provide us with content, ask them also to, like the Wright Museum was mentioned, to find sponsors for their programs. And we can acknowledge the sponsors. We can't advertise, but we can say thank you to the donors and sponsors that are supporting the TV station and being able to provide that content for them. So I think that answers your question without giving you the number you were looking for.
So are we basically saying this is a new revamped program, from new equipment to new programming to, because I know that I thought I heard whispers of the equipment was losing its life expectancy, and it's now a used vehicle out there. So
So if you think you heard it, we didn't do a good job, because we've been screaming that for the last couple of months. And the money has come in that we can replace a broadcast server that's dying. It's giving us a hard time already, and at the end of the year will not be supported by the manufacturer. So yes, that's what this big $225,000 3-year plan is all about, replacing that equipment. Our editors are right now running Windows 10 and cannot be upgraded. The machines we have are too old to upgrade beyond Windows 10. So our 2026 goal is to replace those. And then we'll get in 2027, as the budget and the revenues allow, we'll replace and or increase what we have for camera equipment, and being able to get people out in the field doing more, providing more content with equipment that they can sign out or use that's up to date and, good stuff, as opposed to here's the junk out of the closet. So yes.
Yeah, we just signed a purchase order for the first phase of that new equipment, and
That's great.
I forget the exact number, but it's 28,000 or something, and they're going to be installing that before the end of the year, and that will upgrade a lot of what's going on.
So the responsibility that the town has to provide information to the citizens out there isn't being paid for by the cable anymore, or what portion is being paid by cable?
I don't understand the question.
It's never been.
The franchise fee.
That's for you as a town to know. That money gets paid. You're the franchisee. You, as the town, get paid by the cable company those franchise fees that are collected. We've known for a while that as people cut cable, those are going down. And it's come to a point where we can't just say to you, this is our budget, we need to take it out of the franchise fees, because there's not enough. We know that in 2025 was something like 101,000, and our budget's 105 from the town. And so at some point, there had to be a crossover, and it ended up having to be this year.
So for the people that are watching right now, Jim, do we know what that decrease has come down to?
So we will not know what the franchise fees for Wolfeboro are for 2025 until February or March. Sam, do we have a running tally of what the previous years were?
Phil just asked for that this
Yeah,
afternoon.
we have it someplace, John, and I can get my hands on that for you.
I was just trying to provide it to the people that are out there watching so they get a grasp the actual cost of what they're losing and then what they're going to have to supplement.
Didn't he, I thought I heard him say, and I could be right, that I remember when we were on the committee that this year they were going to go down to 101,000, right? Wasn't it this year or last year?
101 was what we received this year.
Correct.
Okay, and the budget was 105.
Correct.
That was this year.
That's what Breezeline
And
paid.
from
Yes.
our perspective, that's none of our business, to be honest.
And
You're
it's
the
going to be
town.
going down
Right.
every year going forward.
As people cut the cable, yes.
Correct.
Dave? This is great. I had a brief chat today with Phil, and my personal opinion is, I start with asking a simple question. Should we, as a town, make available information about what's going on in town business on a more real-time basis? And my answer to that is yes. So check that box. Then the question is, how real-time can you get, right? Two things. Number one is, I'm not clear on the ask. Is the ask 155 or is the ask 105?
105.
So
We're willing
is
to
that
change
chart,
it.
is
We're
that
willing
chart?
to change it to 105. We did.
You're going
we've
to change,
been-
okay, so that's good.
We've been
We're going to
doing the
need to make
math.
a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll do that. And then the second is, you got some words up there that's from the Wolfeboro Cable Committee. It's not, it's from your board of directors, so we may want to just change that too. But having said that, on your new, see where it says Wolfeboro Cable Committee?
Yep, correct. I will
We kind of, we got rid of that a couple of months ago, right? Now, the question I've been asking is, this new gear that you're purchasing, is that going to be smart so that somebody at the library who may want to have their meetings down there can now stream off that, your new gear directly to the internet?
There would be need for equipment put in at the library, similar to what we have here.
All
The
of that
answer-
stuff up there?
The answer is yes, it can be done.
Okay.
But it's not in the box that we're getting, no.
It's not in the box you're getting. So the ambition is, if somebody wants to stream from the library, budget committee meetings, the budget committee
Yep.
loves to meet at the library, so that's still going to be a delayed, a rebroadcast kind of a situation?
It needs to be recorded and rebroadcast.
Okay, I got it.
The
All right.
capability is already in place. We have the capability, but we don't have the equipment or the manpower to do it.
Got it.
What is happening upstairs now should really be 3 people.
Yeah.
And Adrian does it alone. And I do it alone when I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes you get the feedback, because we're running around doing cameras, doing the video switcher, and doing the audio.
And I think what you're doing in terms of asking other nonprofits to sign up is super idea. Look at it this way: we're let's assume, just for giggles, we're $100,000 of your income, of your revenue. I know you can't advertise, that gets you in all kinds of hot water, but unrelated business income on $100,000, it's 10 or 15%. So you'd have to go some in order to get yourself in, hot water, IRS-wise. So to push the envelope would be my advice to you. Keep signing up nonprofits. The more nonprofits you sign up, your UBI number goes bigger, so it's good. I think it's great. Now, my question to you is, do you have enough management capacity to build that content? Because last time you and I spoke, you were leveraged, like 95% of your budget was leveraged on salaries. So how do you, I'm not challenging you, how do you bust out of that conundrum and get more?
The budget sheet that you have, the only thing that changed in that is the way that those revenues would come in. But if you were to look at the lower portion of it, you'll see that there is an increase for more staff.
Okay. So you're creating that capacity by selling more users. Because we're just sending you a check. No disrespect to the comment, please. We're just sending you a check, but you need to create some more capacity by selling more user growth. Okay. Be interesting to see how you do that. Good luck with it.
John, I can answer your question. Between 2016 and 2022, the revenues fluctuated between 128,000 and 123,000. In 2023, it was 117,000, and in 2024, it was 108,000.
108.
So the trend is not your friend.
Nope. And we won't know for 2025 until February, end of February, beginning of March.
And I think there was a question that was asked as to how many customers are out there in the TV land, and I spoke to Phil briefly about this. The cable company, BreezeLine, and the telco, my background, don't find it a good idea to disclose how many customers they have. They have this crazy thing that they got done through Congress called Customer Proprietary Network Information. And so that I can't get a phone number of a person who's been battered or other things. So they're very persnickety about that. But if you want to know how many TV subscribers you have, I gave Phil what I think is the right metric. Take the average franchise fee, which is somewhere between $7 and $10, and figure it's 8. And when you get the check at the end of the year, take 8 times 12, which is $96, and then take the gross revenues and then divide it by $96. You'll be within a row of bunny rabbits as to how many TV subscribers they have out there. But you don't know where they are. You don't know whether they're up on North Wolfeboro or someplace else, but you'll know.
We did make an effort to make us wanted and needed when we generated the YouTube channel. And if you're interested, I have probably a 3-minute read about the numbers that are significant and how our YouTube has become significant. But I won't read it to you if you don't want those.
I think it would be good to hear it.
I think it would be,
So
too.
the public hears it.
Yeah.
This is important.
All right.
Here you go, Tim.
In 2020, let's see, I'm going to read from the top. I skipped around in my context, but I'm going to read it the way I have it. 2024, which is last year, a full year, there were 42,000 views with over 950,000 impressions and 1,189 subscribers. It was an increase from the year before of 200 subscribers. In 2024, the viewers watched 8,266.6 hours on Wolfeboro Community Television, YouTube. So far in 2025, there's been 77,773 views, almost double from 2024. Probably by the end of the year, it will have doubled, with over 500,000 impressions and an increase of 142 subscribers to the channel, currently making 1,330 total subscribers to the main WCTV YouTube channel. And there were 11 new subscribers just this last month, 28 days. YouTube was created for Wolfeboro Community TV in December of 2014. It was used for some in-house content and uploaded content from here, the town meetings and things in 2015. In that first year, full year, there were only 1,487 views, 0 impressions, and 11 subscribers. I'm going to jump really down through some of this. We started broadcasting live meetings and so on in 2017. I came on board in the fall of 2016. We started doing live broadcasts in 2017, and views grew from all the way up to 3,712, with at that point now 17 subscribers, or more subscribers, for a total of 40 subscribers. And then jumping up to 2018, we had 4,000 views, 20 more subscribers brought us to 60 subscribers. And then 41,730. The impressions are how many times the video thumbnails are shown that people see and have the opportunity to click on it. So 41,000 impressions in 2018. In 2019, the year before COVID was discovered, we had 9,508 views, and our subscriptions jumped by 104 to 164 subscribers. And people started really cutting the cable. There were 63,000 impressions. In 2020, the year COVID really got going and everybody was stuck indoors. We even went online here. But Wolfeboro Community TV still provided you broadcasts and live, including the select board meetings. We had 31,085 views and grew by 254 subscribers to 418. And so it's jumping up there quite a bit. In 2021, as COVID was winding down, more people were cutting cable, and COVID stayed with us. The COVID people stayed with us, some of them. There were 40,000 views, 237 more subscribers brought us up to 655 subscribers. And these numbers include those that drop off. So if there were, 237 was the number that actually was the increase. So if there were 20 that left, there was, 257 that joined us. But these are increased numbers. So we're at 655 subscribers in 2021. 2022, 34,448 views with a growth of 135 subscribers brought us up to 790 subscriptions to our channel. 2023, 41,262 views, almost 200 more subscribers at 989. So again, as I said, we've jumped up to now 1,330 subscribers right now. Of people. There were 8 people a few minutes ago watching you live on YouTube tonight, and who knows how many on TV, but your meetings are some of the most watched, and more of your select board meetings than your budget committee meetings, or your budget presentation meetings. I'm sorry. I wish they would watch.
I wish somebody would send us an email saying your meetings are boring.
Of the budget ones, because then they would know what's going on with your budget, and they could vote for it, but...
Tim, where did you get the impressions data? Where did it come from?
YouTube Analytics.
Yeah, you got YouTube Analytics?
Those were only YouTube.
Got it.
It does not include any other apps or anything that might, if we hit.
So the good news is we can draw a straight line between what you just said and an authoritative source. That's always a good thing to do, rather than making stuff up. That's good. If I took Jim's revenues that came in for the last 4 years and you just do a straight line, we've been losing television subscribers at a rate about 4% flat per year. That probably, as streaming costs either change or get bundled into your phone service, your cell phone service, those numbers will accelerate. So you can plan on 4% and probably rough spit it at 6%. So that's kind of what's going to happen to subscribers. That's a good pieces of information, Timothy. Thank you.
I'll just give an anecdote about YouTube. Ann took me to dinner for celebrating my birthday over in Maine a couple Wednesdays ago. And we put the select board meeting on YouTube, and we could listen to it all the way back as long as we had internet connection available. So it was quite interesting to be able to listen to the meeting while we're driving our car. So anyway, I thought you'd get a sense of humor out of that. What's that?
Why would you do that to yourself?
Sick.
Because I'm interested in what's going on.
Sick people. I used to watch it in a hotel room and throw my shoe at the TV.
I'm going to hand this out.
Thank you.
And if I may say something before Phil closes out. Phil, I'm behind you. I'm Mary Schiller-F. I am pleased to say I'm the board chair by default because nobody else would do it. Actually, it's been a great honor. I was here on April 2nd, and we were able to throw together, because of the capacity of this board, but I think it's very important to emphasize WCTV is the archive of all your meetings. Also, and this is rather blunt, we are being subsidized by people who are on cable. Their franchise fees are paying for all of this. And we as a board and this community rose to the occasion and raised the money to buy the server that could, I don't know, tomorrow. This is the community that stepped up to secure what is valued and vital when it comes to communication, which I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard how important communication is. Those are 3 or 4 things I just wanted to emphasize. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
I have one more question for the group. So in the past, I've had people approach me and say, Geez, like, I'd really like it if they had closed caption so they could read the wording. Where are we in that development?
I remember when you said that last time.
What's your answer?
Tom,
Closed captioning is something that this new broadcast server is capable of doing. It's an added cost. It's something that we would need to have sponsored somehow, so we'll have to find some businesses or somebody in town that would want to cover the cost of making that happen. If we can have that, we would have, not the YouTube closed captioning, although that's gotten much better than what it had been when we posted our, disclaimer about the closed captioning provided by YouTube. But for the broadcast, the over-the-top, the cable TV channels and the cable streaming channels, closed captioning is something that we can do. We just need to have it funded. And this machine that we're getting is capable of it. So if you can help us raise some money, we'd be happy to get that going as fast as possible.
Have you looked to the New Hampshire Council on Developmental Disabilities? Because they offer grants for things like closed captioning
Do they?
for televisions.
So make a note of that, and we'll look into that. Thank you.
The New Hampshire Council on Developmental Disabilities.
Yeah. So legally, we're not required to provide it because our budget is less than $3 million a year. And we don't need to get to $3 million a year to do it, but we do have to have it paid for. So there you go.
Dave? I'd like to make a motion to change line 381 in the executive budget to $105,000 from 155,102.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Do you have something for us, Phil?
You're going to, and do we need a motion to change the Wolfeboro cable, or that can just be modified
That
in
can
the
just be
budget?
done. I think that just.
Clerical, taken care of.
Great.
Yes.
That's a good catch about New Hampshire CDD. I think a few years ago we looked at that, and I have the website here, and it doesn't speak about grants other than for individuals and families. So maybe they've expanded their remit, and that's not a bad idea to look at it. And then the other thing, Timothy, you probably know this, is so YouTube has a closed caption button. But you're saying we'd have to, that's an adder on ours? If we wanted to hit that closed caption button? Sorry to do that to you, buddy. Because I know you can close, thank you.
YouTube, I don't know that they do it anymore. They were trying to do it live. I
love my
haven't
TV.
looked
I
at
haven't
it. I
got my
don't think
cable
they
yet.
do. But what they'll do is they process, it takes about 24 hours for the content to process.
So you've looked into
And
it.
then
I'm not
you go back
questioning you. You've
into
looked
it.
into it.
Yes, you can watch, you can choose to turn on or turn off that closed captioning.
Yeah, because I know folks who've used the closed captioning button, and also if you have and I'm not sure you can do it with streaming, but if you have one of those smart televisions, you can toggle language and you can toggle the caption stream because it's native to the stream coming out. I'm not questioning.
It comes with the, if we produce it, the closed captioning.
Would go.
If we put it out, then it'll
brought-
go to those smart TVs. The smart TV won't just do it on its own.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay.
I believe the other item to cover within this budget tonight is 872 Wolfeboro Waters. I handed out a document to you this evening. I believe there's somebody here in the audience to speak toward this budget, and I believe Linda can speak to it as well. Dana, do you want to come up and speak to the budget at all? Right here is fine, Dana.
Well, good evening. Dana Huff, and I sit on the Wolfeboro Waters Committee and also the Assessment Subcommittee. So you have before you the budget that we have reduced from previous years. And what I do want to say is, for the most part, most of this work by the committee members is all volunteer. There is no expense from the volunteers to do the work, but we don't have the expertise to do everything. So, we need to have interns and toxin analysis from UNH. We get data, and we want to make sure that we understand what that data is and what kind of trends we're seeing. And so we need a consultant to help us do that. We need to have the samples that we take analyzed. So that's the UNH stream analysis. One of the things we can do with our volunteers is, if we see a bloom and we get a sample, we have test strips similar to a PCR or a COVID test, not exactly, but similar to that. And we can test and see if there are toxins, certain toxins in that. We've added 2 more streams this year, and we'd like to add 4 more next year. And I can tell you, when it rains and you get out there and you're trying to gauge these streams, it's a lot for 2 volunteers to do. So I think Dan Coons, who's on the Conservation Commission, is willing to work with us. And so we don't know exactly what the number would be, but we've put an allocation in for him to help us. And then to really figure out what we've got in these samples, we need to do a much deeper dive. And to do that, we have these ELISA plates. They're not cheap, they're expensive, that UNH can then run the samples on and give us very detailed information. Is there toxicity? Isn't there toxicity? What is the toxicity? The DNA of the samples. And so that's why they're just very expensive plates. And so we've put in an allocation for that. And then we have the communications subcommittee, and this is putting kiosks out and putting information in it so we can educate the public so that they know when they see something, whether they should be concerned or not, or in the water or not. And then we have a mitigation subcommittee that is doing some work to, once we identify some situations, what do? You need to have someone figure out what the mitigation strategy is going to be, and so we need some assistance with that. So our budget this year is not what's on the screen. Wait a minute, where is it? Oh, it's up one line. It's 21,900 versus 24. The ask that's up there that says 24.5. Questions? So I think you would need to amend that, correct?
I just was waiting to see if they were going to have any questions, and if not, I will go on with.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Okay.
Or you can go first. What do you want?
Well, I was just going to make a motion. Okay, I'd make a motion that we change line 872, Wolfeboro Waters, to 21,900.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a few questions. So for those folks out there, Timothy's told us there are a lot of impressions on, which is actually pretty good. So reactively, looking backward into 2025, share with us activities, and some of this stuff, I think Linda's going to say we should put it up on the website. If it's not already on the Waters website, it should go up anyway. Share with us the activities you've had. How many samples were taken? What did you find? And just let me qualify it. You're still just looking at cyano. You're not into anything other than cyanobacteria?
Well, no. I mean, we're looking at nutrients. So we're
not looking at metals or any of that?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're looking at bugs? Are we looking at E. coli?
We are not.
Okay, good. All right. So now that so it's nutrients.
It's nutrients.
So what have you been? What did you look at? Where did you look at it? Maybe a couple of minutes.
Sure. So currently, we analyze the tributary from Shaw Pond. And I realize that's not in Wolfeboro, but it is in your watershed. We've added the tributary to Knights Pond. Again, not in Wolfeboro, but in the watershed. And we monitor 2 locations in Winter Harbor that come down from some of the developments. And that's changing, so I like to say, it's consistent, but the town has divided the flow, so it's changed what comes into those streams. So now we can watch and see if there's a difference in either one of those streams.
And part of the reason we're doing those streams is we have the Wolfeboro Bay watershed, and which is the stream that the town, if it had to do some kind of remediation, should go to first. So there's a reason why we're doing it.
So in the Wolfeboro, in the Winter Harbor area, over near the beach,
Cary Beach?
yeah, and then up near the Libby?
Not that far, yet.
Yet. I'm going to press on that.
So that is in our goal for next year, is to add a tributary closer to.
Jockey Cove?
So no, we don't have a stream yet that comes into Jockey Cove.
I'm just trying to, again, for the benefit of folks, it sounds like you're moving into the areas where we have, seen these things in the past, and where we may have some concerns.
And some of the things that you've seen there is E. coli, which is not what we're.
Correct. That's why I asked you
we're not monitoring that.
On the, and I've seen some signs going up, and I understand there's going to be kiosks, and that's actually good, and that's wonderful to see. On the mitigation side, what happened this year from a mitigation point of view? What did you do?
So, combination of a nice cold winter and an extremely dry summer, we really didn't have the benefit.
You underspent the budget.
Yeah, we didn't have the benefit of cyanobacteria outbreaks here, right?
I got your point.
I'm being a little sarcastic there.
I got your point.
So
mitigation was
from a mitigation point of view, but that's where I'm going. I'm going to mitigation. We don't want to recommend a mitigation based on a snapshot in time. So unfortunately, the results from our samples are fairly delayed. So for us to be able to put something together today based on yesterday, we can't do that. It takes, I would say by springtime in 26, we'll be able to start laying out trends that we're seeing in these tributaries that we're monitoring. And then we'd be able to say, okay, we need to chase upstream on this one because we're seeing on rain events, and we try to get out there after rain events. Again, we're volunteer, and we're trying to fit all of these things in. Then we can say, okay, we need to look upstream, and then the mitigation strategy would come in. Is it private? Is it public? Can we access it? Can't we access it? What is it? So that's why we do think in 26 we'll have some information to be able to move forward with some mitigation strategies. That's why that budget is up.
And that, I think I know the answer, but maybe again for the benefit of people. And the customer for that output of that mitigation strategy is going to be the highway department or somebody like that prospectively.
I mean, it's going to be for the town,
Yes.
for sure, right, is what I would say as the overarching. Who is going to be responsible for the mitigation will be yet to be determined. I mean, in some cases, if it's private property, we're going to need some teeth to say, okay, you need to correct this problem because it's causing this. Sure. Right.
And part of it's coming out of that Wolfeboro Bay watershed, and we're trying to work with New Hampshire DOT to do one of the sites on Route 28. We're trying to identify what are the best spots to do mitigation. But the mitigation committee has worked on a septic system rules. It worked on the Crescent Lake Dam and how to keep the water in that river. And being the
Smith River,
the drought, the biggest drought in 131 years, we in August had to shut the dam down. And they're also looking at pervious surfaces and how you do maintenance of it. So where assessment is taking the streams and trying to see what we need to do and what streams are the most important, our mitigation committee is also working on a whole bunch of other items.
Right.
So it's a kind of a combination, and some of what they find in assessing may move over to mitigation, but mitigation has its own, items that it all working to improve water quality throughout the town.
So I know 19 Mile Brook is monitored anyways. Is there any?
Right.
Is there any future look at Wolfeboro Waters monitoring 19 Mile Brook?
That's a good question, and it is one that we considered, but Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance is monitoring that under their program. So we would be duplicating effort if we were to do that, and if they want to pay for it, I'm all for that.
Okay.
In fact, I would also add that we are going to be asking Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance to see if they'll pick up some of the monitoring costs. So, and if that's the case, then maybe we can reduce the budget even further. I don't have that answer yet, though.
Okay.
So are we testing close quarters, like our docks downtown, our areas that come down North Main Street, our areas that come down South Main Street, Crescent Lake Ave? Are we testing those outlets of our drain systems?
Not yet.
Crescent Lake, I think, is being done by the Wentworth Watershed, and that is going to be addressed when we do the Route 28 project that we're trying to send more information to New Hampshire DOT. The town, down at the town docks, that's part of the drainage part of the South Main Street, where we, if the money's still there, have a $1 million grant to help us address the dockside parking lot.
So I'm just trying to get the heads up on what we're seeing so that when we go to design something, we know what's coming down the river.
Right, yeah. I will say that the Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance also does the back bay as it goes underneath Main Street.
Yep.
They sample that. So again, there's no reason for us to do that. But it's really, John, it's really difficult to sample a specific outlet unless it's raining and running. And trying to, we do have two that are in Winter Harbor that are measuring flow from culverts, and we're using what they call a V-notch weir, so that means we have to put an obstruction in to have the water go over that so that we can measure the flows in this weir. Very difficult, it'd be very difficult to do that underneath the bridge on Main Street, for instance, to get into those pipes, and sometimes those pipes are submerged, so we can't get a flow.
Got it.
We're trying to pick areas that, what I would say is, aren't regulated or can't be accessed by the town to like catch basin sumps and those kind of things. The town is doing they have a maintenance program to do that. So we're not doing those kind of outlets. If you think there's an outlet somewhere that is worthy of us monitoring, I mean, we're also going off from the watershed plan that was done a year ago as well. So, and I can't say that they've specifically identified any outlets right here for us to go look at. But if you think there's something there that we should look at, we'll absolutely do the due diligence to see if it's something we can monitor.
So when you test stuff, basically in those large stream areas, those are all coming from other outlets of drainage systems and so forth. So, but they become diluted at that point. So what I'm trying to say
or concentrated.
Or concentrated.
Or concentrated if they're all contributing to the same factor.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying.
When they come down the Smith River, they're in the large water body, so they've all become diluted.
If there was one bad actor somewhere that was contributing, we wouldn't be able to tell that from that location.
That's right.
You're right.
So
once I don't mean to be disrespectful and cut you off, but once you identify you have a nutrient loading in an area, now you start to look upstream. So that's when we would start to go look at and get samples not necessarily the flow rate, but samples out of what's coming into that tributary.
I think it goes more to what Paul was saying, what are metals and other micro elements that are flushing in.
And there may be, there may be those other things. We're really trying to reduce the amount of algae and cyanobacteria growth in the lake. That's kind of what the take has been.
And also the sediment load that's going into the lake. And from that sediment load, we're getting the phosphorus and the nitrates, and that's what's causing our issue. Because when we did bores, the phosphorus down below, there's enough allium, is that what it's called?
Aluminum.
Whatever it is.
Iron and aluminum.
Iron, yeah, it will bond to it.
Right.
And it's the new sediment that's coming in on top that's releasing. So that's why that's what Wolfeboro Waters is trying to.
And there's no definitive answer yet whether PFAS and PFOS contribute to cyanobacteria or actually help eliminate cyanobacteria. It depends on the study right now. It depends on the chemical makeup of the PFOS or PFAS, but it is something else that we're going to have to start looking at going down the road, because Maine has a whole program.
They do.
Where they're doing it.
Minnesota too.
And Minnesota. So when states are doing it as a whole, we shouldn't turn a blind eye.
And we're looking at those studies as they come in.
And one of the big places that we should do is we should check the effluent water coming out of the PSI plastics. And we should also check any stream water or marsh water around PFI plastics, because if we're going to have any PFOS, PFAS, and forever chemicals or microplastics, it's going to be in that area.
Then we're going to need to have another group to do that and do that kind of testing. And part of the reason why we connected with Bigelow Labs was that they have the capacity and has the knowledge of those bigger studies.
Yep.
That we, as what we're doing in Wolfeboro, doesn't. We'd have to look at what exactly we'd have to do to check for PFAS, but we can, Wolfeboro Waters, if that's what the committee wants us to do, the board wants us to do, we can look into what it would take for us to do that.
We do have some good scientific minds on our committees, but that's not mine.
Yeah. The whole Merrimack, New Hampshire area and 10 towns around it are in a complete mess right now.
Yep.
And everybody, if anybody doesn't know that, look it up. You'll see it's not a good situation.
My last favorite one, Lang Pond Road. So that's half theirs, half ours. A lot of water is coming from us to them. Do we have any theories about what we're going to be doing over time?
I can't say that was specifically one of the target areas, but as we look at the 4 we want to do next year, that would be in the mix.
Yeah, a selfish interest, but an interest nonetheless, I think, on behalf of the people there. The Lang Pond Road is, if you look low to your left, you're looking into Mirror Lake. Mm-hmm. If you look high to your right, you're looking into Wolfeboro.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's woods, and it's muddy, and it's wet, and it's all of the above, and it's coming from farms. Mm-hmm. All right, it's coming from all kinds of things.
I could tell you the people at Mirror Lake have asked us to do the tributaries coming into it.
Yeah.
But I'd rather do the tributary coming out of it to see if we need to look at the tributaries coming into it.
And it's a gravel road, and we've heard, and I think there's been some discussion about gravel roads and cyanobic. I think it's got all of the attributes of something that you might want to think about looking at. I do remember, maybe Jim, I'm wrong. Wasn't there maybe it was done by an individual organization that said we do not have any PFAS in our products?
I am forwarding you that letter right now.
Yep,
dated April 23rd, 2024, which outlines that from Brian Porter of PSI Plastics.
Okay. Anyways, back to the question. My question at hand is, selfish interests. I walk there a lot. It's wet. It's dusty. It's got all the attribution of. Well, take a look at that.
Yeah.
At some point.
It is on the list.
Thank you.
Any- I'm fine.
Nice job. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Any
much.
other questions for Dana? Thank you.
Okay, well,
Thanks,
thank you
Dana.
for hearing us.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay. So I believe that your next budget is the town manager budget. Town manager budget for 2026 proposed $246,590, an increase of $16,655 or 7.2% over 2025. This includes wages for Amy and myself. Short of that, the budget is pretty well level funded. I'll be able to answer any questions that you have. 100 series.
I do, and it's Amy's salary. I thought she had some of her salary in welfare, and usually I see will come down there certain percentages into welfare, and I thought it's like 5%. It's kind of figure that I.
Yeah, it's 5 hours out of 40, so.
Well, the 5 is right. But
Because some of them, we see them all in one budget, and then we know a certain percentage. This is 35 here. Whether I haven't seen welfare yet, whether she has in welfare the other, and so we don't see her full salary here, which is what we have seen in other budgets.
Okay, so you're asking to,
What I'm saying is, when I looked at this, usually I would see, it would say, this person is 25% here, 40%, and we would see the full salary and then the percentage that's in that budget. And that's why I'm asking it. Is this her full salary?
this is not, but we will fix this to reflect 40 hours with 5 hours allocated to welfare.
Okay, thank you.
And Jim, looking over it's the 41,550 personnel administration, or is that the next budget you're going to do?
That would be the next budget.
All right, never mind.
$200 series. $300 series. $500 series. $600 series. $800 series. And that's that budget. Any questions? Okay, moving along to your next one. Your next budget is legal budget. We have level funded this for 2026. We have seen some high expenditures in some of our lines here this year. I'm hopeful that with having a planner on board that we may be able to reel in some of these zoning and planning legal costs that we were running up over the past year without a planner. The other thing that is in here, if you may recall, is the Coalition of Communities. That's related to education. There's still a number of communities that are active in this. I think it's prudent that we stay in it for another year.
Jim, on the backup sheet, and I had a question on this today, that it has that you did not recommend this amount, and somebody was picking that up, and it is in the front sheet, but on the back sheet, when we look at department heads and town managers, it's blank for town manager.
Huh?
This sheet right here.
So that would be because I just didn't roll it over, so that's an error on my part.
Because I had somebody picking this up and saying, you need to do the coalition, so if we can straighten that out.
We will get that
That will
straightened out.
stop that question from coming up again.
Yep. that is my
No
fault for
problem.
not
Just
entering the data
before we
correctly.
get it to the budget committee, that's all.
Smart. Thank you.
Jim, what if we spent, I'm just concerned that this year particularly, we have spent a fair amount on legal expenses in one department, and ZBA, I'm questioning whether that is realistic. And I think it's important, it's better off to spend the money on the attorney and not get into an issue than to save on the attorney and then being sued and you spend way more.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the takeaway is early in the year, we had a number of complicated cases that came in front of the zoning board. They were not able to secure quality guidance from a planner that we didn't have. We had somebody who was here 8 hours a week, could not provide that time. I think it's one of those ones, it's always a roll of the dice. Some years you have nothing coming in front of zoning. Other years you've got multiple cases that are very complicated coming in front of zoning. So I wish that I could sit here with a great deal of confidence and give you a number that I think we can land on. But I think $10,000 is where hopefully we can reasonably land. And if we can't, then we're going to have to watch our other legal budgets.
If I could, Mr. Chairman? Speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So I think I take away from this, I have two things. One is we want to make sure that legal advice is designed to ensure that the town protects its interests and doesn't get an opportunity to go to court. And I think, that's one thing. The second, and it's going to come across unfair, but it's the way it is, I don't believe that we should be using, at any time, lawyers to help us understand how our ordinances work. And if that, and I'm not saying that's going on, but if that's going on, we got to stop it. We got to either invest in education or do something differently. I'm fully supportive, Jim, of you saying, hey, sometimes stuff happens and you catch one and the lawyer has to get involved. But I don't want to cross off the name legal advice and have it training. So I want to make sure we just, with all of our organizations, emphasize they're not there to train us. They're there to ensure that we protect the interests of the town of Wolfeboro.
Well, to me, they're there to answer a question, and we should write the question that we want answered.
And keep it forever.
And have the answer there.
Forever.
Right. Well, it is if it's a legal opinion, but I think it is the ability to just ask the question, which wouldn't necessarily be the interpretation.
Yeah.
To just be taught, but sometimes it is, what is your interpretation of this?
Yeah.
By what you, so I think it's important that we get legal advice through written questions.
I agree with that.
So
agree with that.
your wording is interpretation rather than case law? Is that what you're focusing on?
Well, interpretation could be case law, or it could be statutory law. I mean, there's only two ways you make laws, right? Precedents in a case, precedents by statute. And if we are asking for advice of counsel, Linda's very capable point is write it down. It goes in front of people, and that's the advice you get.
I was just trying to get an understanding if we were getting case law on interpretation or getting case law on the facts, that's all.
Yeah, just clarity. Really, the issue is clarity.
I'll correct that Munismart sheet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Short of that, anything else? Next item, personnel administration. This is where our healthcare, dental, unemployment, life, disability insurance for all general fund departments lands. Estimated budget at this point is $2,955,704. It's an increase of $65,100. or 2.3% over 2025. This budget has been estimated with an increase of 10%. We will not know the actual numbers until either the first or second week in November.
Well, you've answered my question. I was going to ask you to spitball on what we're going to get, and I don't think you should do that.
I think that would be a
Just don't do
very
it.
inappropriate statement, given what we know is going on with school care and the $300,000 assessment that we just received.
Agreed.
And I think at this point, we don't even have any way of we should just leave this alone until.
I agree.
So we have the right information.
So do we want to revisit this after you think you're going to get something in the mail?
So I don't know if we'll get it in advance of rolling this to the Budget Committee. If we do get it in advance of rolling it to the Budget Committee, then we can have the conversation. If we don't get it in advance of rolling it to the Budget Committee, I think we will, depending on what happens, we're probably going to have some conversations.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's the way we should
I
handle
think I
it.
agree with that. Okay.
Your next one is your miscellaneous budget, 5,500. This is usually used by the board for flowers, that type of thing, when there may be a death or other items that the board feels important on sending condolences or whatnot to.
Thank you.
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that in the 2025 budget, before it was default, we asked for 3,500.
Did you?
I think we did, yep. That was cut back. We haven't been up at the 5. You know, if you look at actuals, we spent $124 in 2024. Approved in 2025 was 3,600. So I'll move to 3,600. And then we got the default, we're back to 5,600. We've spent to date this year 2,180. And I think with this kind of increase, we should go back to the 3,600.
Second.
I'll make that as a motion, 850 miscellaneous.
Second.
850 line.
Yeah, 850
miscellaneous.
miscellaneous.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Your next budget is debt service. Debt service for 2026, principal and interest payment, $2,413,190, a decrease of from 2025 of $171,467 or 6.6%. Took and I placed 27, 28, 29, and 30 onto the spreadsheet. So you can see that over the next couple of years, the debt service based on general fund bond activities is heading in a downward trajectory.
What year does the RIB drop off, 29 or 30?
That was 29.
I think it's 29, and I actually have a slide that shows that I believe it's in 30. We're down to almost nothing on sewer debt.
Almost nothing on sewer debt in 2030?
I believe that's what it is.
Oh, there it is here.
So yeah, there's the next slide right there.
There it is here.
As you can see, it doesn't drop off as dramatically as the general fund does, but when you hit 2030,
3031.
it drops down below 150,000.
3031.
And that's, of course, prior to the onboarding of Mill Street Sewer Pump Station.
Yep.
When Mill Street Sewer Pump Station comes on board, most likely 2028, maybe 29, you're going to see an uptick on this.
Just the Mill Street, because Laner was cash.
Laner was cash.
Is it a general question? Maybe you don't know. I think I don't think there's an ability for the town to pay down its debt obligations, because these are general obligation bonds, and they can't go out and find their way.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Neither can student loans, because they find their way into securitized.
The bond bank on
derivatives.
general fund bonds, if they find that they are able to go out and refinance at a savings, they will do that. And I
Pass
believe,
that on.
and they did that, I believe it was either last year or the year before, and we actually saw a check come in from them for that in unanticipated
But
revenues.
we can't say, hey, we want, not that we could, we want to just pay it to zero. You can't do that.
We cannot.
Right, because of derivatives. I got it. Okay.
So that's your sewer debt, 575,000 and some change. When we go to set the tax rate in 2026, we will be able to bring this down by about $46,000 based on money which is left in the bond for Forest and Varney Road. We've still got monies left in that account that we are able to purpose for reducing of principal. So that will come to you when we get ready to set the updated revenues.
And Jim, I clearly don't know the answer to this. Where's the POP debt?
So if you actually look at this chart that I just threw up.
I was looking for the histogram. You don't have one of those histograms.
This is a document from CIP. This is the Pop Whalen debt that is assigned to Pop Whalen. The balance of that is assigned to the general fund. I know I've got an answer for you that I've got to get for revisit night, and I'll have that.
Thank you.
But this lays out what the general fund debt looks like, the water fund debt, the sewer fund, Pop Whalen, utility, and total debt service for the entire town through 2035.
Let me make sure I'm clear on the chart. So these debt dollars, particularly for the POP, are debt dollars that are held inside of the POP, or are they held on the general fund?
These, I believe, are the POP debts.
Okay. So the Pop Whalen Enterprise, because that would make sense, right? Because Barry's, it's all enterprise fund to enterprise fund, right? So Pop Whalen is shouldering whatever the number is, $833,000 of principal and interest payments. Bless your heart. $77,599. But the general fund portion of that, you still owe me an answer on that.
It's up in the.
It's up in the general fund.
General fund.
I'm just asking you to bust it out.
You want that busted out as well?
Well, I just want to know the percentage. Same answer. If you gave me the percentage.
Same question you asked me last week that I will have for you at the revisit night.
Okay. Yep. Good. Thank you.
And I believe that is all of your budgets for this evening. I
So
apologize
can I
for
ask-
the enterprise funds.
Can I ask a question about the sewer?
Sure.
So seeing that the South Main Street sewer project is going to go down the line with the state,
On the tubes.
and we know from testimony that Steve Randall, that's in real bad shape, is there any chance that we could fund the project and be reimbursed by the state so that we could move it along at a cheaper rate than down the line a few more years, knowing that the rates are going higher and higher for construction?
Interesting question. That's an interesting question.
So that would be something we could pursue. The takeaway is right now, I believe it's a $4.2 million project that we would have to bring in front of the voters, get approved. I'm not sure exactly where we are on the permitting process with the project, John. But if that is something that this board would like for us to tackle over the next year, I don't think that's an unreasonable ask. The question becomes that $4 million number
Gotta climb over
of the
that
debt
number
load
first.
climbing on top of the 2.9, I think it is, or 1.9 of the sewer pump station.
So the only reason that I ask it is because that's what you're hearing from the public. They want us to fix our infrastructure. So if that's what they want us to do, then we should.
I've also heard from the public that they don't want our debt to escalate too much.
I get it, but if we have
I think we should explore it.
I do too.
And we can look at it and decide, why would we not explore it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
seems like, because weren't moving up real quickly on that list from the state, so I think we should look at it.
Well, actually, Linda, we're moving in the other direction.
Yes, I think we did.
And I would say that, you know, in the interest of being completely transparent, yeah, is that something we can strive for 2027? Yeah. Are we going to be able to do it for 2026?
No.
I don't think so, based on the engineering work that's been done. I don't think it's ready for prime time, John, but I think for 2027, I think we can at least have it in front of you for that conversation.
So we have an issue then that we're going to have to make some hard choices. Do we want a 26, 27, 28, $4.2 million community center, or do we want a 26, 27, 28, $4.2 million sewer upgrade? I think the sewer upgrade would be something that is probably more pertinent and important right now. But again, the voters are going to have to vote on it. They usually give us a yes on our upgrades for sewer and water and other infrastructure, roads, so.
Well, pairwise analysis is the right thing to do when you're looking at tough choices. It's trade-offs, and I think that's what you're teeing up. But I think we're on the point which was made by Mr. Thurston, which is, you know, hey, WMUR is telling, over the weekend, the state's rattling the couch cushions for $400 million for highway projects. I went on the DOT website, and our project on the 28 is, I think whatever, it's out there in Nana land. I mean, this all is just, it's liquid earth at the present time. But I agree that we should, at some point, when a little more clarity is coming from our friends at the state about what's going on, which probably will be in the next 60 to 90 days, because it sounds like they have to figure out what to do PDQ with the Merrimack side of things, that we may at that point sit down and say, is this a 27, 28 conversation? That is not a bad idea. And then to the point of, well, would you much rather do that or something else? Yeah, that's pairwise analysis, and we should do that.
The state has done a great job in cutting their revenue streams so that then they don't have any money to support municipalities. So
Whatever the right reason is.
It's been a great thing, so they kind of left us hanging in the wind.
So my next question was, is there grant money out there for municipal projects like that?
Forget about it.
So that type of project usually does run through DES, through those funding mechanisms. It's my understanding that they're trying to keep those DES dollars in place for those projects. The hopes for me would be that some of these other communities decide that they can't tackle these projects due to the costs, which in turn elevates our project up. I know Steve and Stantec have a meeting scheduled at some point with DES to find out, okay, where did we go wrong here? Because we actually went the wrong direction on the scoring matrix this year, which was really disheartening when that
I think we went from 30 to one of those little infinity signs.
But that's the only mechanism I'm aware of, John, for grant funding for it is through those DES programs.
I have something on other business. I just want to hand out to the board a document that I'm going, when we meet with Jordy Hutchins tomorrow, It was an agreement, a quick agreement we put together for the model railroad, and I wanted to be able to hand it to him as kind of an example, and I didn't want to do it without the other members of this board seeing it. So everybody knows it's just a real basic statement, and it's kind of the place where I thought we might be able to start off.
No objection.
There's also some brush down at the community center now. Volunteers have pulled away a lot of the brush and created some large piles, and I'm just wondering, should we as a board think of a way to dispose of it, or do we leave it on the
It's already in
volunteers?
process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Anybody got anything else?
Nope.
Cool.
I'll make
Public input.
Public input.
Public input, anybody?
I'll just make two quick comments. The first one is relative to the electric budget, and I know that it's not really part of the town budget in
Your
the
name,
sense that it's
just
paid.
your name, just your name, please.
Oh, sorry, Karen Burnett-Curie, Wolfeboro. When the item that was $250,000 more was discussed, the question was why had it increased, and the answer was, well, a person had been moved from line supervisor under a separate category into this one, and that was considered a adequate answer. I, as public, would suggest that moving one person does not, to me, represent $250,000. So I would have loved to have had a more complete answer to that question. I think it came up later on that there were people that had retired, and there were, I mean, there may have been other issues, but the one that was given wasn't enough to answer a question related to $250,000. And the second comment I would make is that oftentimes things that are in the budget that seem quite obvious actually stand out for some people. And I would give as an example Wolfeboro Waters, which I have no fault with them and the work they do, is submitting a budget to the town. While there are 3 other bodies of water in Wolfeboro that are not submitting and are doing water testing and watershed management and mediation and a variety of other tasks. So it should always be a consideration that if Lake Wentworth and Crescent Lake are doing their own, and Russ Pond is, and Mirror Lake is, and actually the Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance is doing some testing in this watershed, how is it that Wolfeboro Waters is selected as the one that comes in under the town budget? And that would be true of other things. I happen to be a person who also goes to Tufton Borough meetings. And, we have things that we do collaboratively with them. And the last meeting I went to, the last annual meeting I went to, they said, well, they don't care about us anymore, so we're not going to care about them. So I always think that it's important for us to consider how, it's interpreted by other people, whether they be our neighbor or in Wolfeboro itself. Thank you.
Ann Blodgett. I just had a quick comment in advocacy to the ZBA, who was left high and dry when the planner left, and not only high and dry, but in the wake of some of the stuff that he left behind. That legal cost, as Jim said, not having a planner, but the fact that Tavis left such an ungodly wake behind him really caused some legal, the ZBA was trying to be careful and protect the town, so I would be careful about criticizing the amount of legal expenses they used this year.
Okay, anything else? We're gonna meet again on Wednesday.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.